Welcome to the Veterinary Rehabilitation Podcast, where we aim to help fellow veterinary rehab therapists increase their knowledge and elevate their practice. I'm Megan Kelly.
And I'm Anae Lloyd. Together, we bring you the latest insights, research, and information in the field of veterinary rehabilitation.
This podcast is brought to you by Onlinepethealth, a leading continuing education membership for veterinary rehabilitation therapists. With Onlinepethealth, you'll have access to a wide range of online resources to help you stay up to date with the latest techniques, advances, and trends in the industry.
Our podcast features in-depth conversations with leading experts in veterinary rehabilitation. They share their own experiences and knowledge to help you improve your practice. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out in the field, our goal is to provide you with the tools and the insights you need to succeed.
So join us as we explore the exciting world of veterinary rehabilitation and help you take your practice to the next level. Hey, Vet Rehabbers, 2025 is shaping up to be the year of the Vet Rehabber author. We've seen a wave of incredible books hitting the shelves, from our very own Canine Muscle Anatomy Simplified, which sold over 700 copies in the first week. If you're interested, you can check it out at onlinepethealth.com/anatomy book. And then also we had Donna Sidebottom's Heartfelt the Biscuit Pie, which we featured recently on the podcast. And now we're thrilled to welcome Tom Worman to the show. Tom has just released a much-needed resource for our industry, the Canine Clinical Hydrotherapy Handbook. And in today's episode, Tom shares his journey into the world of canine hydrotherapy, how he managed to write a textbook while still running a busy practice, and how he's built a business and partnership that reflects his passion for helping animals while still maintaining balance in his life. We're also thrilled to announce that April the 15th marks International Vet Rehabbers Day. Now, all the other veterinary professions have a day to celebrate their incredible work, and we decided it's time we recognize the dedication, passion, and impact of veterinary rehabilitation professionals around the world. So you are the unsung heroes who help animals move better, heal faster, and live pain-free lives. Your work changes lives, and we can't wait to celebrate with you. So please come and join us in our Facebook communities. There are small animal vet rehabbers, equine vet rehabbers, hydro vet rehabbers, and our business vet rehabbers. All the links are in the podcast notes. Before we head over to my chat with Tom, a quick word from our sponsors. At Paw Prosper, we believe true pet well-being demands a three-pronged approach: prevention, support, and rehabilitation. Our brands are trusted by veterinarians, universities, and rehab facilities alike. So whether you're looking to train, rehabilitate, or help your patients age gracefully, our brands, Walking Pets, Help 'em Up, Response Systems, Fit Paws, Muffins Halo, Sleepy Pod, and Canine Carts offer effective, innovative, and proven solutions. You can sign up today to receive a one-time special gift for all our podcast listeners with your next order, and you can go to pawprosper.com/OPH. Right, over to my chat with Tom. Hey, Tom, thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, Meg, thanks for having me. It's I've been thrilled to be invited to this, and the podcast is something that I listen to every car journey to and from work. So actually to be on it is thrilling. It's really exciting. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for being one of my podcast fans. Won't you tell the listeners how you got into the field of canine hydrotherapy?
Yeah, so my background isn't traditional. I didn't grow up thinking I want to be a vet, or even in the animal world. I very much lived in a digital world and a marketing and a business world. And then my Labrador, got diagnosed at 18 months old with bilateral elbow dysplasia. And I was taking him to a hydrotherapy center, thinking, swimming for dogs? Wow, this is like, what is this? And I just saw the transformation that he had and how it really served him really well. And I was very, very lucky that my workplace, which is university, recognized that I've been there for 15 years, was starting to get itchy feet, looking at what new opportunities were on the horizon, and said, look, go and take a year's career break, see what you want to do. So I did. So I retrained, threw myself wholly at hydrotherapy, through my entire inheritance at setting up a brand new center. And yeah, now we've got 3 different centers, and I've just bought with my co-director, just bought the center that my dog was being treated at. So it's kind of become really nice full circle. But yeah, certainly not a traditional entry method.
I love it how so many of our sort of entries into this field, they come from so many different places, but there's often an animal involved.
Yeah.
So I've interviewed so many people. It's like I had an animal, or there was this one patient that I had, and I was just not getting the results, and I needed to do something. There's always that one animal that gets you into this field, which I love.
Yeah. It's great, and he's getting the benefit that he needs, which is fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just great. It's really good. I wouldn't change it for the world.
So he's still with you.
Oh yes, yeah. So he's 9 now. He's got severe arthritis, medically and conservatively managed. But it's quite nice because you can walk into vet's practice and you can have an honest conversation with them because they know what you do. They refer patients to you, and they will have a real deep medical conversation with you rather than an owner conversation. So I had 45 minutes, which is unheard of in the UK for a vet consult, just literally deep diving into everything arthritis with this vet because they wanted to know from our perspective as well what worked and what we were seeing. We not only is it benefiting him as an individual dog, but actually hopefully the community as well, which is awesome.
So tell us how you went from, obviously doing this transition from the business side of things into hydrotherapy and, the journey into having three practices. Like how did that all start? So break it down from the one and then how you expanded.
Yeah, so I think probably best thing is to step back a bit and actually go, okay, so I've been at Portsmouth University for 15 years and I was getting itchy feet. I was looking for something new and this opportunity came around. And I think for me, I started with a bit of a Venn diagram of kind of looking at overlapping things. What did I enjoy? What did I want to achieve with my life? Where did I want to go? And quite frankly, what would pay some bills as well? I mean, I was in a reasonably well-paid career. And one of the things that came out was hydrotherapy. I thought, well, that's a really interesting opportunity. It wasn't hugely expensive in terms of retraining. And I thought, well, look, worst case scenario is you chuck a few £1,000s at it and great. And you've learned something that's going to help your dog. That was kind of the first starting point. So I then went to some training at a vet practice in South of the UK, and they had a hydrotherapy pool, and they were a registered training provider. And at that point, I met my co-director, although I didn't know she was going to be my co-director at the time. So she was doing a top-up first aid course. We bonded and discovered that she was going to be driving past the place every day that I was planning on launching a centre. So connected with her, and within about 5 or 6 months of opening our new centre, she had joined and was running her own kind of private clinic, just renting a room from me. And then within a year, I invited her to become my co-director. So there was two of us, and it's nice to have a partnership and to be able to actually share a journey forwards. And we complemented each other because she was a veterinary physiotherapist. I only trained in hydrotherapy, so that kind of gave us a pathway to kind of travel forwards with. And she very much took the clinical role, almost essentially a clinical director is what she is now. And myself took the business side and driving the business forwards. And together that made a really nice harmony. And that was 6, 7 years ago now. And we grew and we added more staff the busier we got. And then last year we were approached by a colleague who had the centre where my dog previously he was going and said, look, life's changing. I want to go and do something else. So she's gone off to be an ambulance driver for seals and in wildlife, and offered us the opportunity to buy out her centre, which wasn't on our cards at all. But a bit of big borrowing and stealing some money from all over the place and family members allowed us to kind of get in a position where we were able to take on that. And now we've kind of grown to have that and a practice within a veterinary practice as well. So we're now a 3 practice clinic across the south of the UK. We see around 10,000 treatment sessions every year, and we've got 14 staff. So we've grown to quite a scale over over that time. We're now at a peak where we're kind of like, okay, we need to stop. We keep closing our books. So you get to that stage where you get an organic flow of customers and you don't have to market anymore because everyone knows who you are and you already exist. We've actually had to close our books twice in the last 4 months because we just can't take on anymore. So, but we don't want to overstretch our staff as well. So we're kind of like we're at a pause stage with growth.
Such a wonderful place to be, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
But it's one of those kind of places where you can't also get complacent, right? You can't
absolutely.
completely stop marketing, and it's actually a tricky sort of like, where do you find the balance? You still got to market to keep yourself known there.
Yeah.
You know,
And there's always going to be someone else new coming through the doors and new graduates entering the marketplace. And yeah,
yeah, and having interviewed quite a few vet rehab therapists in the Behind the Vet Rehab Practice podcast, I've had a few been in your situation, not to scare you, just to prepare you really. And that's what happens is there's one vet that's referring, and then suddenly that vet decides, okay, we're opening up a hydrotherapy or rehab
yeah.
center. And then suddenly like 50% of your referrals are just gone suddenly. So these are the things that I think we got to be aware of. And also just as a warning for the listeners, like, don't, when you think everything's all good, you just got to keep on and be consistent with the marketing and just keep up with it, because things can change in business. You know this, Tom.
Yeah, yeah.
Anytime things can change.
So I do quite a lot of horizon scanning on that. So we're kind of constantly checking in, seeing who's doing what, where, why, to make sure that we're trying to stay one step above
Yeah,
in
like,
terms of and can react to
yeah.
things and changes and what have you. So and there have been practices that have opened hydrotherapy centres and physiotherapy centres and kind of on our doorstep. But actually, what's been nice is those that have brought in. Generally, they tend to bring in physiotherapists because it's cheaper, cost effective. You don't have the running costs of hydrotherapy units or the space requirement. And but actually what we've done is maintained a really good relationship, and the physiotherapist has maybe gone into a major vet hospital, for example, then becomes one of our regular referrers from a hydrotherapy practice anyway. So it comes down to that relationship that you hold with those practices. So yeah, I think whilst we might not be pushing forward with lots of Google adverts and Facebook adverts and those kind of things, still maintaining vet relationships is absolutely critical, even at scale.
Yeah, and I think you guys have got that USP because you've got the hydrotherapy side, like you
Yeah.
say. And it is a big undertaking to have a hydrotherapy center. Like, there's the water management and the space and more staff and everything. So it is an easier entry just to do the hands-on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I completely agree in terms of bigger management. I've just we just had to close one of our centres for 2 days because I walked in on Saturday to a flood because our holding tank for our underwater treadmill had found a hole and flooded everywhere, and then you got to order a new one in, and that's a lot of money, and so, yeah, it's and you close, and it's suddenly you're like, panic mode.
I noticed on your website, you've got a beautiful website, by the way. I really,
Thank
really
you.
love it. And I love the way when you book a consult, it says it sort of puts the clients into 3 different categories, like, and then it says that that's me, so it really
Yeah,
makes them like, this is who I am. And I'm coming for canine fitness, or I'm coming because I've got a dog that's post-operative or whatever. So really, really nice website. And I forgot what I was going to say now about your website. Oh, yes. Yes. I noticed on your website you've got the 3 practices, but 2 seem quite close, and then the other one is a little bit further away. How do you manage that?
Yeah, so our main one, which is the one that's probably further away, we're all of them within about half an hour of each other
Okay.
on main roads.
Okay.
So it kind of gives us a geographical catchment area, and we've got 2 that are probably going to use to take closer together. One of those is our practice that's in a veterinary practice, and it's physiotherapy only. So that gives us a nice kind of routine. We will always start every treatment protocol with a full veterinary physiotherapy consult. So that allows us to see it's based right outside a major city hub. So that allows us to see those clients that are in that city, and then they have the option of going basically north or west to a hydrotherapy unit if hydrotherapy is indicated, and which is an extra kind of maybe 20 minutes on their journey.
Okay. Yeah, I think in the map, obviously there's a main like highway or something that takes you there,
Yeah,
because it looks like the one is so far. Like, in my mind, like
yeah,
it's an hour or 2 away, but it's
no.
close.
Yeah, it's only half an hour. I think it'd be really challenging. We were offered an opportunity to purchase another center and scale up. But they were 2 hours away, and it doesn't make sense. That wasn't an option for us. So
You just spread yourself thin then. You
yeah,
travel too
yeah,
much.
you would. It's challenging as it is just half an hour apart to try and manage three places. That's challenging enough. I think there's a lot to be said for about working on the practice rather than in the practice,
Yeah.
and detracting yourself from the day to day just to actually keep on top of managing three places. It's a challenge. Yeah.
So do all your staff work like location based, or do they move around?
Yeah, so we gave them the option when we took on the new practice. We gave them the option of working multi-site. But actually, what we found is that they have all kind of gravitated and found their home, I suppose, at each clinic. And if we need to, if there's an emergency, then we can pull in people from across. But actually, they tend to have their own clients. They have their own sort of continuity of care, and they kind of stay at each individual clinic.
Yeah. And are you practicing at the moment, or are you more on the business management side?
Yeah, I am. I'm practicing 20 hours a week. So it's probably 20 hours a week doing that and 30 hours a week doing the business management and then sleeping at the weekends.
And I mean, do you still enjoy it? Like having your hand in and seeing the patients and
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I think I'd ideally like to decrease the number of clinical hours that I'm doing just purely to be able to focus on the business and give them the staff the support they need and leading it forwards. But actually, I do want to maintain clinical time because I think you're always progressing yourself and you're always learning and there's always something new and clients want to talk to you and have experience. So I think there's being in it is still so important.
yeah. And it's a balance though, you were chatting about having your co-director. And so many vet rehab practices now are built on partnerships. And I love the idea of that. Having had my own practice, being the only person where I was consulting and doing the business side of things and, doing the lecturing and everything. Everything was on my shoulders. It literally just becomes so overwhelming, and your time, you just don't have the time to do the things that you need to and the time to focus on the things to grow practice. And I've interviewed so many partnerships now where they're just so complimentary. It's so wonderful to hear, and just to have somebody also through the tough times. It's just when things go wrong. So for example, when you had that flood, just someone to say, hey, like, what should we do? Like, what's the plan here?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Oh, we
and I
both
know
cried
that,
on each other.
yeah, yeah, just to like commiserate with, and
Yeah.
I mean, every time something happens in a practice, you create a system for that. So like I remember in my practice, when the underwater treadmill goes down, the first time it went down, we were like, oh gosh, what do we do now? And then the second time you're like, okay, we've created a system. This happens. You phone this person, get hold of the client, and
Exactly.
the team knows what to do. But the first time it happens, and it's nice to have somebody else there. Like, what should we do? How should we handle the situation? And
Yeah,
then
it's because it's a soundboard of them
yeah,
to develop those processes and say, yeah, okay, so I think we should do that. And then they go, yeah, but how would that work if you weren't there or this didn't happen or that? And to have that opposing view is also really useful.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, definitely.
But I think I think also the nice thing is just, if you think about anything, like let's say you go on holiday with somebody, or you go by yourself. It's always better going with somebody else because you share those experiences, and then
Yeah,
you talk about it again. I mean, that's what people love doing, is remembering, and like to share the growth of your business from one practice to three to, I mean, who knows how many you guys are gonna have. When you said there was that fourth one, I was like, whoa, slow down. But I could be interviewing you in 5 years' time and you could have 10, to be able to share that journey and to talk about it with somebody else. That's actually the special times in life, right? Is to share
yeah,
experience with somebody. That's why we love traveling with people. Well, I do. I mean, I'm generalizing here. So maybe some people like traveling on their own. but I hate it. I really hate it because I love sharing that experience and then later on laughing and saying, "Oh, do you remember that? Do you remember?" And being able to talk through that, that's life.
Yeah, yeah. I think the industry can be quite isolating as well. You can be quite on your own. So actually, to have someone to celebrate those successes with, and also to support each other through challenges, I think it's really important. And I think we've had to remind ourselves of that recently. And we've had some challenges, both from staffing to maintenance to anything when you run your business, you do get that. And me and Leanne, my co-directors, we'd not drifted apart, but we just hadn't seen each other for such a long time. And we were like, and that's where the cracks started showing. And we were
Mm.
like, and then we got together and we were like, okay, we actually need to get back on this as a team, as a partnership. And then suddenly things are starting to improve and you realize actually you do need each other, and to share in that journey and to hold each other accountable and to celebrate all the amazing things that we do and to be able to switch off, to be able to have a holiday as a director, and know that your team of 14 staff are still going to be all right because you've got someone at the top there still to look after, and hopefully you can have a bit of a switch off time.
Yeah, I think communication is so important. And if I think back to when I had my practice, life was so easy when it was just me, right? It was just
Yeah,
me taking my consults, seeing the patients, booking the next appointment. And then you think, okay, life's going to be easier when I have a receptionist. And it is. But then there are a few things that go wrong because you didn't communicate well, but it is easier. And then you get more and more staff, and the more and more staff you have, the harder it is to control things because you can't.
yeah,
And you realize that those like weekly meetings, like sitting down with your team and actually like talking. And at Online Pet Health, this is so hard for us. Like you guys actually have like brick and mortar practices. Like in Online Pet Health, we've got the little office here at my house, and it's just me and one team member, but everyone else works remotely. So communication is so, so key, especially if you're not seeing each other, if you're in different practices or you're working online or whatever. So yeah, it's really something that you got to keep up with. And it's so easy just to get going in your own things and not
yeah.
communicate.
Oh, it is, and that was one of the issues that we found when we were kind of talking about it, was that we'd both just got kind of embedded in the things that we were doing, and we
Yeah.
were both doing the right things for the business and for our clients, but forgot about talking to each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely, I stand by talking with your partners and the people that you work with more. Those water cooler moments are really important.
So if we're looking at the challenges that you've gone through, and we could give some like hindsight to some of the listeners, like, is there anything that you did that you wish you hadn't have done in business? Like if you wish you'd done differently, like a big mistake that you made?
That's a hard question.
Or even
Yeah, I don't
like
know
one
whether
of
there's
your
this.
biggest challenges, like, that have really taken a long time to overcome, and you thought, geez, if I'd just done this, that would have been easier.
Yeah, so I think, oh, I mean, growing is a challenge when you kind of, so for us, when you read all the kind of books about scaling and you watch YouTube videos and all these massive entrepreneurs going, yeah, you can make millions doing this, that, and the other and scale and grow, you think, yeah, okay, that sounds great. I mean, you're never going to make millions in rehab. It's about the client care. But you kind of think, yeah, okay, that's easy, and there's kind of economies of scale. But in this industry, I don't think there really are huge economies of scale. So when you take on another clinic, that doesn't mean that you then can then shave a proportion of costs. That clinic still has its own running costs and its own challenges and its own staffing needs, and is very little shared between two essentially independent clinics. I think that's probably our biggest, most kind of recent learning curve, was taking on an already in existing clinic and then having to mold it to our way of working and our shaping and the resource demand that really took. And it's been just over a year that we've had it. And the team are fabulous, amazing. They are so dedicated. but we're still learning and we're still evolving. And so I think that's probably one of the kind of big corporate type issues from the clinic. I think one of the other things then, I guess, that just kind of sprung to mind was around team expectations. And when you bring in someone new, oh, just lost a headline. When you bring in someone new to onboarding them, bringing them up to speed, great. We've got a whole package on that. But there's a difference between what you kind of interview for and then what the skills they bring in, and learning to actually dedicate that time to that individual to make sure that they are up to speed, I think is really important. So we've got a new staff member starting at the end of March, and we've already put a month aside to make sure that they have really structured, evolving process. And I think we forgot about that with a few staff members, and they just throw themselves into it, which has been amazing. But actually, we then as directors just kind of feel a bit, oh, actually, we should have put bit more support and effort around that. So I think making sure you've got dedicated enough time for your team is brilliant.
Yeah, what I loved about what you said about the scaling is it's exactly that. You think, oh, I've got one practice, I might as well have another one. But it is another whole set, and I say a whole another set of problems, but it is because there will be problems, in every
Yeah.
practice, and it's problem solving. That's what business is about. So yeah, just having another multiple practices isn't as easy as just, carrying on with all the admin side of things. There is a whole lot another team that has to be managed, and there are tanks that will burst and things that are going to happen. And I think the only thing that you can sort of combine is the marketing side of things. You can market for all three. You can have a team that markets
Sure.
for three, but the day-to-day running is the biggest part of our business, really.
Yeah.
That is the challenge. It's the getting the clients in and out, and making sure there's enough team members to be able to treat them. And yeah, somebody's sick, and then it's the knock-on
Oh,
effect.
sickness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not their fault they're sick. People should be entitled to being
Exactly.
sick. That's cool. That's fine. But then the knock-on impact for clients and for staff and everything else can be challenging. Yeah.
Do you know what's so weird is in the veterinary field, and I'm not sure what it's like there in the UK. But I worked as a vet in the UK, but in veterinary field, nobody ever told us this. So nobody like at varsity ever said, like, if you're sick, you go to work. It's just a known thing because when you're in a team in a veterinary practice, like, you basically, the vets, if there are two vets, there's two vets work, right? If one vet is sick, that other poor vet has to do two vets work in one day. Everything's booked. All the
Yeah.
consults are booked, the operations are booked. And because you're in a team and you care about your team, you literally come to work like you're dying, like you literally die. You're so sick, but you will work and
Yeah.
work and work and work and do whatever. It's sort of this unknown thing. And I don't know whether it's just a South African thing or it's in the UK too, because I remember being in the UK being really, really sick. I remember once actually like leaving at lunchtime, and I drove myself to the hospital and was admitted. That's how sick I
Oh,
was.
wow.
Like I had a kidney. So like I had a kidney
Wow.
infection. I ended up in hospital for like a week, but I did my morning shift, I was there. Um, so yeah, I think that's the thing with animals, and teams, people, we can be sick and we just go, 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 but then there's a time when we can't anymore. And the
Yeah, I
problem is
think
the impact that it has, because, just financially, rehab practices, we can't have an extra team member. It's the same as a vet practice. You can't have that extra team member just lurking, just in case someone's sick. So yeah, when there's sickness, it does impact the team hectically.
it does. And it's I think one of the things we learned is that a lot of clients are actually okay with it. Like they understand that people are sick, but it's you kind of still feel so bad. And then you look at your diary a week ahead going, okay, let's reschedule a week and think, whoa, we're fully booked. Where am I going to get you in? And we're super lucky that a lot of our team are part-time.
Yeah.
And so but they're probably, this is generally their only job, but they've decided for work-life balance they want to do maybe 30 hours a week rather than 37. And they're generally really good at jumping in and going, look, I understand X is off. Let me help for today. I'll do a couple of extra hours. We'll squeeze them in. We'll move them around. So yeah, which is amazing. But yeah, you're right. We can't overstaff. There's no budget to overstaff and go, yeah, let's have someone just hanging around just in case someone's sick or poorly.
Exactly.
So we're looking at a bit of a model for us where we've realised that Leanne and I kind of take on a lot of the admin, phone calls, emails, that kind of stuff. So when someone does come on, call in sick at 8 o'clock in the morning, we've then got clients at 9. We've got like an hour to blitz through and get sorted. Whereas we're kind of looking at bringing in a job share essentially of 50% practice receptionist, admin, and 50% hydro physio. So they can be we can position them and they can shift. And we need to drop answering telephones for a bit so that we can use them for some extra cover. Great, but actually, if we're fully staffed, then we've got some really good customer service that can go on, and we can kind of just shift that role around
Yeah.
to just cover all of that. And the other thing that we're looking at doing is there's some colleges locally that they all have to do, all of their students have to do certain levels of placements. So we're looking at how we can kind of partner with those colleges and universities, particularly the colleges, because their students have to do 1 day a week, 40 weeks a year in a workplace. So if we can get 5 students that can then come in and help with that customer service and that animal handling, and they're keen and we can pay them a salary, but a nominal one or kind of essentially an apprentice rate, then that might help us as well. So there are routes to addressing these problems. I think you've got to be really creative about it.
Yeah, I love it. So, when you're not running your 3 practices, you're also authoring books. So,
Yeah.
we've seen on social media, and I was so excited. And I know we chatted a bit before because you'd
Did
used
yeah.
these illustrations in your book, and you'd send me an email saying, "All right, this is what I'm doing. Can I use this?" And we were so excited because we have needed a hydrotherapy textbook for so long, like so long. And I remember actually like saying to a few people, we really need a textbook. You should write one. You should write one. I never said that to you ever, but nobody ever did it. So I was so excited when you decided to write your textbook. So tell us about how that came about, how long it took you, and the whole process that you've gone through to get this textbook published.
Yeah, well, I think let's start with some thanks your direction, to be honest, because actually it was the vet practices making money online that kind of I thought that started me thinking about, okay, what are my side hustles? Where
Yeah.
can we do things that evolve here? So I was thinking about that, but also the kind of before that, I'd written a staff handbook essentially because we had some graduates that had come through as they finished their training, but because here in the UK, when you finish your course, your learning has to then go through a moderation process, and you don't necessarily get certified until maybe up to 6 months later. So you've lost all of that hands-on skill, and I think some of the training hasn't been maybe as hands-on or as detailed as maybe it could be in hydrotherapy. The industry, certainly in the UK, has now shifted to a much more what we call a level 4, which is much more intensive than previous level 3 and a lot more practical. But in the UK, it was kind of only 5 days hands-on practical training for hydrotherapy, and people lost a lot of that skill. And so when I had 2 staff members join concurrently, and both of them had come through training, both of them had got their certification, but when they came to interview, I actually had to tell them they were dangerous to practice. I'm okay talking about this because we've got through it. But they were perfect fit for the organisation. I think people fit is so important. You can train everything else, but then you're not necessarily the right customer fit, then that becomes an issue. So I was like, look, I'll take you on, but I want you to commit to 3 months of essentially probation. But in that, we're going to train you. You're going to work with us. We're going to, and through that, I was then like, right, have you got access to your course notes? Oh no, I've lost them. Right, okay. What have you got? Nothing really. It was all online. I can't access that now because my course is finished. It was ages ago. I didn't think to download them. I was like, okay, so I need to write something up for you. So I did. I basically went back to all of my course notes, pulled all of those together, some of the online things that I've got, actually just pulled all the resources all into one thing and just wrote a top to toe manual essentially. I thought, yeah, this is what you need, covering everything from anatomy to how the clinics work. And they found that hugely useful, huge learning resource they could just keep going back to, and even just looking at muscles and anatomy and those kind of things. So they kept going back to it. And then my wife had to have some quite significant surgery. And so I took that opportunity to use the time whilst I was off caring for her to kind of tidy the book up a little bit. The UK industry had said move to level 4 in learning and education, so there was a new framework. I thought, okay, well, look, if it worked for my guys, then there must be other people that are interested in this. So I thought, well, I'll put it together. Had a chat with you. Said, look, can we use some of your new public rights resources? I thought I wasn't sure whether they were going to be allowed to, and you came back going, yeah, awesome, perfect kind of use, which is great. Um, and and yeah, and pulled together kind of 300 odd pages of content that literally walk you through based upon the hydrotherapy qualification framework. So it walks you through absolutely everything. Um, and then yeah, whilst my wife was ill, I hit the publish button. I thought, oh well, like one or two people might want it. Thought it'd be nice if someone gets it, great. I thought I'll set out with a target of 10 sales. I thought that's a nice thing. I'll be happy. That'll be happy. Within 2 days, it rocketed online, and I've only ever put it out on social media. And I have to say thank you to the admins and the group admins on social media that have really supported it because I was quite concerned. I was quite nervous. I think those that maybe saw the Facebook post, I was like, I'm really nervous about putting this out there. It's something that's going to be peer assessed, peer reviewed, and so I popped it out there, put it out, and we did 100 sales overnight.
Amazing.
Okay, this is interesting. There's people of interest, and that was just on the ebook. And then loads of people commenting, go, "When's it going to be in print? When's it going to be in print?" And that then starts a whole new ball game of trying to work out how you make it formatted for print and where are you going to print it and all of that kind of stuff. So, but it is now in print. It's available from caninehydrotherapist.com, and you can get it on both as an ebook or direct from me as an author if you're in the UK, and we print it and ship it directly, or around the world it's available on Amazon. All the links are on caneinehydrotherapist.com. But yeah, this is the printed version, and it's a good old chunky top to toe book that covers all of your hydro stuff. And I think one of the important things is also that it's an adjunct to people's learning. There's some views in it. It's my views, it's my experience of the last 7 years of learning. I hope that other people bring in their own views and perspective as well, but it gives a good reference point to start with.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. Like, it's a huge undertaking to write a book. And that group that Tom's talking about is a Facebook group. If any of you are interested, it's called Veterinary Professionals Making Money Online. And it's crazy, actually. I think in the last like 4 months, we've had about like 7 people who've authored books. So we're on like this, because obviously people can make money in loads of different ways. They've got online courses and they sell ebooks and PDFs, but the thing that's happening right now is people are actually like authoring textbooks and creating books about their journey and everything. So it's super exciting, and yeah, so proud of you for doing it. It's a big undertaking.
It is, yeah.
You have to be quite brave to
You
put
do,
your
yeah.
work out there, and people can be brutal sometimes, but I mean, I've only seen just positive feedback. I haven't as yet got myself on a copy. I'm more a hands-on book person, so I'm not an ebook type of person. I like to have the book.
Yes. Well,
So
let's connect afterwards. Give me your address and I'll get you one sent across.
oh,
We'll order it through Amazon and get it shipped to you.
awesome. Tom, it's been so lovely chatting to you, and yeah, thank you for sharing your journey. And yeah, I'm sure we're going to have another textbook or something's going to come out because you seem like you're working on things all the time. So yeah, just
There's a
keep us
couple of
updated.
ideas in the pipeline. Yeah.
I'm sure there are. So it's that business side of you,
Yeah.
So starting off on the business side of things, your mind just can't help it. You're just thinking about all the business.
Very difficult to turn off.
Yeah. So thanks so much for your time. It's been awesome.
Thanks,
Won't you
Megan.
just mention that web address for people to get the book?
Yeah, so it's caneinehydrotherapist.com and everything's on there, all the links. So you can get ebook
With an
and
S and an
printed.
E. Hydrotherapists or pist.
No, hydrotherapist, singular.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good time. Take care.
Fabulous.
Bye.
Lovely. Thanks, Megan. Have a great day.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the subscribe button so you get notified every time I load a new podcast. I'm here every week talking to vet rehab therapists from all over the world about all things vet rehab. A big thanks to our sponsor, Paw Prosper. Their sponsorship allows us to be able to give this podcast to you for free, so please go and check them out at pawprosper.com. Don't forget to bookmark the next Vet Rehab Summit on Saturday, the 8th of November, 2025. Come and be a part of the world's largest online veterinary rehabilitation conference created specifically for you, the vet rehabber community. Online Pet Health members get VIP complimentary access to the Vet Rehab Summit. For more information about continuing education for vet rehabbers, you can go to onlinepethealth.com.